What's up everyone? So welcome to another video in our mini course of building a water tracker app. In the last 5 videos, we did the complete design of the app, and then we set the water intake. So now if we play the app, we can add water intake. In the third video, we built a history page where we can see the time and the amounts we're adding and also remove some of them. In the fourth video, we set the bottom navigation bar to make it work. In the fifth video, we enabled the user to input a custom amount. And now, in this video, we're gonna now enable users to set their daily goals. So let's get into this. The first thing is I will go back again to my water state and I will create a new variable here. This variable will be the daily goal. So we're gonna call it daily goal, and this will hold the daily goal that the user set. The type will be integer, and yeah, the default value is 0. We don't want it to be is final because we want it to be changeable. We want the user to be able to change it. Now, here you can see in the code, daily goal variable was created. Now, what I will do is I will go to the component we designed in the first video and enable the user to set their daily goal. Now, this component will show when the user click on this part in the settings component, which is the daily target. And then the user will be able to see the number here. So now then let's connect this number to the daily goal. So then we're going to go to the water state inside the globals, and then we're going to set daily goal, and then we will convert it to a string since it's an integer, and here the text requires a string. Now we can see 0, which is now the default value. I also want to add milliliter next to the number. So we were going to do this with a custom expression. As you already knew in the past 5 videos, we did this a lot where we could just like connect the property to the value, and then we can jump to the custom expression where we can see the existing expression and then we can modify it. And now we just added the unit to this number. Okay, so now what I will simply do is I will enable the user to see this dialog when the user click on this part. So I will go to this part, which is a group, and I will add a gesture detector wrapper, and this will add the functionality of pressing, like tapping, double tapping to this widget. And then inside on tap, what I will do is I will call a function called show dialog, and here in the builder, which is what dialog you want to display, I will pick the component I created in the first video, which is set daily target, and I can see the preview on the right side. Okay, so now if I click on play and I go to settings and I click here, I can see the dialog, but still it doesn't work. So let's now make it functional. So what I will do is when the user type the goal here and click on confirm, I will change the daily goal that I set in the water state, in the global state, which is the water state. Now, as a good practice, I can change it directly from the dialog, but it's always a good practice that you don't change variables of any object, whether it's a state or anything else, from outside. It's always a good practice to create a function inside the same object, and this function is the one that will change the value inside, like the variable, and you just call that function from outside. So this means that I will create a function called set daily goal, and this function will change the daily goal number, and from the dialog I will just call this function. Now this is not only will make you avoid changing variables by mistake, but it's also good practice because if you want to modify some stuff, like for example if you want to save the new daily goal to the local storage, I can simply just edit the function itself inside the water state, and I don't have to change anything from outside. So that's always a good practice, to change any variable inside an object using functions and not directly access them from outside. So in the set daily goal, what I will do is I will go to locals and I will find my daily goal, and I wanna set it. Now I want to pass a parameter first to the function, and this parameter will be the daily goal. So it will be daily goal param, and the type will be integer, and then the daily goal, which is a variable inside the water state, I will set it to be equal to the value that I am passing to the function, which is the daily goal param. So what's going to happen now is when I call this function, I will pass the new goal, and then here in the set, I will change this one or this variable to be equal to the new goal that I just passed to the function. But now, since I'm changing something that will have an effect in the UI, because remember, in the UI here, I will display the goal, and also in the home screen I will also display the goal here, and I will also calculate how much is remaining, and I will also change the progress bar. So since this variable has an effect on the UI somehow, you should always call notify listeners. That's also another reason why you need the function, because if you just change the variable directly from outside, then you will not be able to call notify listeners, so the UI will not get updated. Okay, so now I created the function, so let's go to the water state. I can also see the function being written here, which is like I'm passing a daily goal, and I'm setting this one to be the new daily goal, which is the daily goal param, and then I am notifying the listeners. All right, now let's go back to the board. So now since I set the function, I can simply just come here and call it when the user click on confirm. But first of all, let's go to the text field. Now, when I click on confirm, I will read the number that the user typed here, and I will send it to the function set daily goal. But to be able to read or access the information of this text field, you should always have a controller. And a controller is just an object that will hold the text that the user typed here. That's why I will create a controller. But if I did this, I just create a controller here, but it's just I created only inside the text field. But I want it to be a variable because I want to access it from the button. That's why instead of just creating a controller here, I will click on it and I will create a variable out of it. And then for this component now I have this variable, which I will call controller, or let's say TextFieldController. And I can also see that it has a default value. So this this variable already hold a text controller. And then since I have a variable, I can access it from the circuit. So let's go back to the onPress, or actually let's set up the logic of the confirm button. So here what I will do is I'm gonna first read what the user typed here, and to do that I will do it through the variable I just created. So I will just go and access the variable which is TextFieldController, and here inside I can go deeper and access the text. So here then I can get the text that the user typed, and then I can send it to the function. But the problem is the value that the function expects here in the set daily goal is integer. But as I can see here, the text I received from the controller, from the text field, is a string. So I need to change it from a string to an integer. And to do this, I can do something called parse. So by calling parse, I can pass a text or a string, and it will convert it to a double, which is a number. Then I can later convert it to an integer. Now, here, what I can do this in two ways. I can store the text itself in a new variable, which called, let's say, var1, and then inside the parse, I can just go to variable 1 and parse it, and then also store the result in a new variable, which I will call, let's say, daily goal parsed. Now what happened here is I access the text property inside the text controller, and I store it in a variable called variable1. I then pass that variable 1 to the function parse, and then it will convert it to a double, and then I will call it daily goal parsed. You can do this in 2 steps, but you can do this as well in a single step. So let's say I don't need to access the controller and store it in a variable. I want to do it directly from here. So here I deleted the node that creates the variable 1, which is the text inside the controller. That's why I have an error here, because it cannot find it anymore. But I will simply detach. And then the source here will be the text inside the controller. So instead of doing it in 2 steps, where I store the text here in a variable and then pass that variable to the parse, I can do it in a single step, which is just parsing directly the text property inside the controller. Okay, so now I'm getting a new variable here called daily goal parsed. And this will be the daily goal I will send to the function I created inside the water state. So then I will go again to the globals, to to the water state and I will access the function which is set daily goal. But daily goal expects an integer, but this one is a double. So which means that this one can be 10.5, 20 point something, but the daily goal usually, should be like an integer, which is like a whole number. So what I can do simply is I can first connect to the double and then call something called round. So this will round the double to be an integer. So let's say if you put 500.7, it will be parsed to 501. Then after I'm done with this, I need to pop the pop-up. So I will call navigator and then I will call pop. If you don't do this, after the user click on confirm, the pop-up will stay. And you don't want this. You want it to disappear automatically after setting the daily goal. So now let's try this out. So if I not select anything and I click on play, it will start from the home screen. If I go to settings and then click on, I can see first it's 0 milliliter as the daily target. If I change it, let's say to 500, click on confirm, then the daily goal became 500. So now it works correctly. But let's say you did input a text, because no one can prevent you to do that. You have the full freedom, or the user have the full freedom to type whatever the user wants. So if you do this and you click on confirm, nothing happens because now an exception happens because the function is trying to convert a text to a number, which doesn't work. So now to handle this case, we're gonna use the try catch. So we can go here and we can add something called try statement. So here it will try to execute a node, and if any problem happens, it will go and do something else. So what I want to do is I want to show an error message that the value is not a number when the user type, let's say, a text, not a number, inside the dialog. So in Nowa, right now, you cannot move the nodes. This is actually coming very soon, but right now it's not yet live. I mean, maybe when you see the video, it's already live. You can just move the nodes here, because what I want to do is I want to move those parts to be on the right side of the try, which means that if this function, like try to execute this function, which is the default one, and then if it works, perfect. But since I cannot move it right now, since the feature is not live yet, I want to show you something else, which is even more exciting. So let's say you want to do anything in the circuit, but for some reason you cannot do it for some reason, or you just want to do it with code. So what I'm gonna do right now is I will go to the code of this dialog and modify the logic with code. So I will go to open the dialog in its own preview, go to the code. Now I can change it here, but what I like to do is I open it in VS Code, and then I will access the function directly. So if I look here, I can see that I have already the function, which is like I'm parsing the text from the controller, and then I'm calling the water state, and I'm setting the daily goal. And then I'm navigating. And then I have the empty try catch that I added. Now, actually, I will do something even more exciting. I will open this on a side. I will open the circuit. Let's open the circuit actually here. And we're going to keep it here. And we're going to close this one. I don't want to see the files. I can go like this. Okay, so now I can see the code here, and I can see the function here side by side. So here I can see I have an empty try catch, which is this one. And I can here see the 3 lines of code which present those 3 nodes. So what I want to do is I want to move those 3 nodes. I'm just going to cut them. And then you can see that they disappeared immediately. So this is what we call the hybrid approach, which is you modify the code, it instantly updates inside the editor in Nowa. If you do anything here, also it instantly updates in VS Code and vice versa. So now I will go inside the try and I will just paste the code. I will just format it. And then I can see it automatically updated here, and I can see that I just successfully moved the nodes to be under the try. Now, here I will go to the catch, which is what's going to happen if an error happens, and I will call a function called show snackbar. And this will just show a snackbar that will just tell the user that the value is not correct. Now, if I save, I can see here that the code for it was written, which is this one that would show the snackbar. Now, the message here is hello world, which is here. But I want to change it. Oops, no. When you click here, you will just pick another widget. But I want to keep the text widget, the one that will be displayed as a snack bar. But I just want to modify the text here and write the value is incorrect, or let's say invalid. Now let's close it and then save. You can see the text here already automatically updated. So now let's get back to Nowa completely, and then let's actually test this out. So if I go here, I open the daily goal, I set 500, confirm, perfect. If I click again and I type maybe text, a number, anything that's not a number or a pure number, If I click on confirm, I will get a message that the value is invalid as a Snackbar. Now you can display this as another dialog, or you can choose the way you want to display this error, but something very quick is you can just show a Snackbar. Now if you again set another number, click on confirm, now it works. Perfect, now we're done with this part. Now in the second, or the upcoming video, which is going to be the 7th video in this series, we're going to now play with the expressions here to disable the correct amount here, and also the progress bar here. Thank you for watching, and let's build something great.